Hello there, friends. It's Ashley here from the Loopy Lamb and theloopylamb.com, and it is week 7 of the 2023 Amigurumi Advent Calendar Crochet Along. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you step by step how to make this adorable baseball hat for our Advent Adam dolls. It's a quick and easy way to add some flair to their wardrobe, and it's just really cute. So I'll be showing you step by step how to make this, and it's accessible for beginners. You don't need any sort of special materials or skills in order to make your baseball hat for your doll. So let's quickly cover the materials that we're going to need to make our doll's baseball hat, and then we'll start crocheting. To follow along with today's tutorial, you're going to need the following items. You're going to need a worsted weight yarn in your color of preference. I am using We Crochet's Brava worsted weight line in the color Dove Heather. You're going to need a 3.5mm or E crochet hook, or if you've been following along with the Amigurumi Advent Calendar Crochet Along so far, and you're using a different sized hook to match gauge in the pattern, use that hook size as well. If you need information about the gauge for all of the doll patterns in the Crochet Along, you can find that information in the written version of this pattern available for free on my blog, theloopylamb.com, and I'll make sure I link to that in the description box below. You'll also need a stitch marker, a tapestry or yarn needle, and a pair of scissors. That's all that we need. So let's clear off my workspace here and we'll get ready to dig in and start crocheting our baseball hat for our Advent Adam dolls. All right, so our hat is worked from the top down, and we're going to start our hat with a magic circle, or also you might have heard it called a magic ring or an adjustable ring. And to do that, we're going to take the tail end of our yarn and we're going to lay it across our palm. And we're going to, of our non-dominant hand, I should say, lay it across the palm of your non-dominant hand and pin the end down with your thumb. Then grab the end of the yarn that's still attached to the ball of yarn and wrap it around your fingers from back to front and bring it around the front and cross it over the first strand to create this X. Then we're going to flip our hand over like this, bringing that yarn across the top of our fingers and pinning it down between our middle finger and our ring finger. Then we're going to grab our crochet hooks and we're going to insert the hook under the first strand and over the second. Then we're going to use our hook to pull that second strand under the first. And then we're going to twist our hand like this to create that little X. See that little cross here in the yarn? That's what we want. Then we're going to angle our hook to pick up that strand of yarn. That's our second strand. And we're going to yarn over hook and pull that through the loop on our hook to create our magic ring. Now you can remove it from your fingers and you're ready to work into the magic ring. Now, if you have struggled with using a magic ring in the past, you can also do a chain 2 and follow the instructions I'm going to give you here in the round 1 instructions by working all of the stitches into the second chain from the hook. Okay, but the magic ring does help you get a nice tight close on the top of your hat. So I do recommend mastering this technique if you plan on doing amigurumi projects in the future. So we're ready to move on to round 1. And for round 1, we're going to work 6 single crochets into our magic ring. So to do that, we're going to insert our hook into the ring and we're going to yarn over hook and pull up a loop. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook, and that's your first single crochet completed. And now we have 5 more to do now. So we're inserting our hook into that ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. There should be 2 loops on your hook here. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. And that's your second single crochet. And we're going to do this until we have 6 stitches total. There's our third. All right, so we've got our 6 single crochets, and if you haven't counted your stitches before, turn your work upward so you see these little V's that are at the top of your stitches. And you're just going to count the V's along and make sure that you have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that I have 6 stitches, I'm going to grab the tail end of my magic ring and pull that tight. And you can see that it closes that up nicely and there's no big gaps here in my piece. Now we're going to move on to row 2 here, but make sure that you've got your stitch marker handy because we're going to be using that here in just a moment. So for round 2, we're going to work what's called a single crochet increase into each stitch around. So we have each 6 stitches, so we're going to do this increase 6 times, and we should end up with 12 stitches at the end of this round. So a single crochet increase is when you place 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch. And I'll show you how to do that now. So inserting into that first stitch, which can sometimes be a little tricky if you did your first stitch tightly like I did here. So insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. And you should have 2 loops on your hook now. Then we're yarning over and pulling through both loops. So the stitch marker is going to be quite handy, and we're going to be moving it up to mark the first stitch in each consecutive row that we work. So make sure that you have a stitch marker. If not, other substitutions you can use are like a bobby pin, safety clip, safety pin, or even a scrap piece of yarn can be helpful. So I've done 1 single crochet in my first stitch here, but I need to do 2 in the same stitch in order to do a single crochet increase. So I'm going to insert my hook back into that first stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop. And now I have 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through both loops. And that's my first single crochet increase completed. And again, a single crochet increase is 2 single crochets done in the same stitch. And I'm going to show you that again into the next stitch here. Insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. And that's our first part of the increase completed. Going back into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. There's 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. And that's your second stitch, which means your single crochet increase is complete. So if you'd like to pause your video, we're going to work 2 single crochets or a single crochet increase into each stitch around. At the end of this round, we should have 12 single crochet stitches in our piece. So I'm going to finish my round here, and I'll meet you back here in just a moment and show you how we're going to move on to the next round. So I just finished the last stitch of round 2, and I have 12 stitches around my piece. And moving on to round 3, I'm going to move that stitch marker out of the way temporarily to work my first stitches. So for round 3, we're going to have a repeat around this piece, which is 1 single crochet in the first stitch, single crochet increase into the next. And I'm going to show you how to do this repeat. This repeat will be done 6 times total. So working into that first stitch, we're going to work 1 single crochet. All right, now that I've done that stitch, I'm going to pick up my stitch marker here and place that into my first stitch. And now we're going to work our single crochet increase into the second stitch here. So again, that single crochet increase is 2 single crochets worked into the same stitch. Right? So that's our first repeat, 1 single crochet followed by a single crochet increase. And I'll show you that again. 1 single crochet worked into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets or a single crochet increase into the next. And one more time, we'll do 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and a single crochet increase into the next. So if you'd like to pause your video and continue to do the 1 single crochet in the first stitch followed by an increase into the next until the end of the piece, at the end of this round you should have 18 single crochets. So I'll meet you back here at the end of round 3 to move on to round 4. So I just finished my last stitch of round 3 and I'm ready to move on to round 4. For round 4, we're going to move our stitch marker out of the way and we're going to work 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Don't forget to move your stitch marker back into place. And then we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. So again, that's those 2 single crochets worked into the same stitch. And now we have a pattern repeat that we're going to do 5 times. And that repeat is 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches, followed by a single crochet increase. So I'll show you how to do that. Work 1 single crochet into the next stitch and 1 single crochet into the second stitch, followed by a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And now we're going to do that again. We're going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the second, and a single crochet increase into the next. So now that we've done that twice, we have to do it 3 more times to have our total of 3 repeats. So if you'd like to pause your video and do 3 more repeats of 2 single crochets, that's 1 single crochet in the first and second stitch, followed by an increase, I'll meet you back here to show you what we're going to be doing in the last stitch of this round. So I just finished my last repeat of those 2 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, and I have 1 stitch left to be worked in this round. And we're just going to work 1 single crochet into that last stitch here. And now that we've finished round 4, we should have 24 single crochets around our piece. And now we're ready to move on to round 5. For round 5, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 3 stitches, followed by an increase. So we're going to work our first single crochet here into that first stitch, moving up our stitch marker, and work 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. So at this point we have 5 stitches in our round, and those 5 stitches are 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, followed by a single crochet increase. Now this is our pattern repeat, and if you're following along with the written pattern as well as the tutorial, you'll see that the pattern says 3 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, and you're doing that times 6. So we need to do this 5 more times around our piece. So I'll show you how to do this again. We're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. There's 1 and 3, followed by a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And that is our next repeat there. So now we have to do it 4 more times. So I'll show you one last time before I let you go off to finish this repeat. So we're going to do 1 single crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3, followed by a single crochet increase into the next stitch. All right, so I'm going to ask that you pause your video and finish working your repeats around. You should have 3 more repeats to do of those 3 single crochets, followed by a single crochet increase. And at the end of this round, you should have 30 stitches. So let me meet you back here at the end of the round and show you how we're going to be moving on to round 6. All right, so we are finished with round 5, moving on to round 6. So I'm going to move my stitch marker out of the way, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches. So there is our first single crochet, moving up our stitch marker, and 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And now we have a pattern repeat that we need to do 5 times. And that repeat is 1 single crochet into each of the first 4 stitches, followed by a single crochet increase. And I'll show you how to do that now. So that's 1 single crochet into each of the first 4 stitches. So there's 1, and 4, and now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And that's our first repeat done. And now we'll do that again. 1 single crochet into each of the first 4 stitches. It's 1, and there's 4, followed by a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And now we're going to do that repeat 3 more times. So if you'd like to pause your video and do 3 more repeats of 4 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, I'll meet you back here in just a moment to show you how we're going to finish off the last 2 stitches of this round. Okay, so we're at the end of round 6 right now. I just finished my last repeat of those 4 single crochets followed by an increase, and we have 2 stitches left to be worked in this round. And we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each of those last 2 stitches. There's our first and our second. At the end of round 6, you should have 36 single crochets around your piece. Now we're moving on to round 7, and we're going to move our stitch marker out of the way, and we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 5 stitches. So inserting into that first stitch to do our single crochet, and then moving up our stitch marker. And then we've got 1 stitch done, so we need to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Now that we have our 5 single crochets completed, we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. So this 5 single crochets followed by our increase, that is our repeat that we're going to do a total of 6 times around this piece. We've already done it once, so we're going to do it 5 more times. So I'll show you how to do that again. 1 single crochet into each of the first 5 stitches. And now that we've got our 5 single crochets, we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And that's 2 of our repeats completed. We'll do it 1 more time together. There's 1 single crochet in each of the first 5 stitches. So there's 1, 3, and 5. And now we'll do a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And so I'm going to ask that you pause your video and do your remaining 3 repeats of 5 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase. And I'll meet you back here at the end of the round to show you how we're going to be moving on to round 8. At the end of round 7, you should have 42 single crochet stitches. So now we are ready to move on to round 8. For round 8, we're moving our stitch marker out of the way, and we're going to work 1 single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches. So there is our first stitch, moving up our stitch marker, and we're going to single crochet once into each of the next 2 stitches. All right, so now that we've got our 3 single crochets done, we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And now we have a repeat that we're going to have to do a total of 5 times. And that repeat is 6 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase. So that means we're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So there's 1, 3, and there is 6. Now that we have our 6 single crochets completed, we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And that is our repeat, and we have to do that 4 more times now. Again, that repeat is 6 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase. And I'll show you that again. 1 single crochet into each of the first 6 stitches. There's 3, and 6. And now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And that is our second instance of that repeat, and we're going to do that 3 more times. So if you'd like to pause your video and do 3 more instances or repeats of the 6 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, I'll meet you back here at the end of the round where I'll show you how to finish off the last 3 stitches of this round. All right, so I'm back and I just finished my 5th repeat of the 6 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, and I have 3 stitches left to be worked in round 8. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet into each of these remaining stitches. So there's 1, and 3. And now that we're done with round 8, we should have 48 single crochet stitches around our piece. And now we're moving on to round 9. We're going to remove our stitch marker here, and we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 11 stitches. So there is our first stitch, moving up our stitch marker here. And now that we've done 1, we're going to do 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. So now that I've done my total of 11 single crochets, I'm going to do a single crochet increase into the next stitch. So that 11 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase is our repeat for this round, and we need to do it 3 more times. So I'll show you how to do this one more time. We're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first 11 stitches. There's 3. And 6. And there is 11. So now that I've got my 11 single crochets done, I'm going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. So now we have to do this repeat 2 more times. So if you'd like to pause your video here and do 11 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase 2 more times, at the end of this round you should have 52 single crochets. So I'll meet you back here at the end of round 9 and show you how we'll be moving on to our next step in our hat. So I just finished the last stitch of round 9 and I'm ready to move on to my next round. For rounds 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, so rounds 10 through 15, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. There's not going to be any shaping. There's not going to be any changes in stitch count. You're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around for rounds 10 through 15. So if you'd like to pause your video and do rounds 10 through 15, I'll meet you back here in a few moments to show you how to move on to round 16. All right, so I'm back and I just finished my last stitch of round 15 and we're moving into round 16. For round 16, we're going to do a little bit of prep work here to begin the brim of our hat. So I'm going to move my stitch marker out of the way, and for our instructions for round 16, we're going to work in the front loop only of the first 14 stitches. And if you're not familiar with locating the front loop, I'll show you how to do that. So if you take a look at the tops of your stitches here, where you've got these little V's on the tops, you have a loop that's closest to you and a loop that is furthest from you. The loop that is closest to you is the front loop, and the one that is furthest from you is called the back loop. So when we're working into the front loop only, it means that we're going to insert a hook up and under to pick up just that front loop. We're not inserting our hook like we normally do this way to pick up both loops. We're just going to go up and under to pick up the front loop only. Okay. So now that we know that, I'm going to start with round 1. We are going to loosely slip stitch in the front loop only of the next 14 stitches. Now I say loosely because we need to work into these stitches in the next row. And if we do our slip stitches too tightly, then we won't be able to work into them, and it can be really frustrating Trust me, I've done this. So just loosely slip stitch. That means like if you need to loosen up on your tension in your hand or just loosen up on how you're using your hook, then that's what I would recommend you do. So working into that first stitch, we're going to insert our hook under the front loop only, yarn over and pull up a loop. And then we're going to pull that loop through the loop on our hook to create a slip stitch. Now we still want to continue to move up that stitch marker here and place that into that stitch. And so now we're going to work a slip stitch in the front loop only of the next 13 stitches. So up and under the front loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the loop on your hook. And we're just going to do this until we have 14 stitches. So there's 3. 5. 9. 11. And 14. All right, so we're going to leave the remaining stitches of this round unworked. We're just going to do these 14 stitches that we just did. And now we're ready to move on to our brim, and which it starts with row 17. So we're going to chain up 1. So we're yarning over our hook and pulling through the loop on our hook and turning our work. So we are working from right to left. If you're right-handed, you're working right to left. If you're left-handed, you are working from left to right. And so now we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the first stitches. Now, when you first turn your work, you're not really going to see your stitches. You're just going to see this flat section of fabric here. So you're going to need to turn your work slightly so you can actually see the tops of the stitches to work into them. All right, and I'm going to do my best to hold that there, but it's a little tricky to hold it that way. Let me try. Hold it and have you see it and me see it at the same time. So now I've turned my work. This is our last stitch here. All right, we're not going to work into that chain 1. We're going to work 1 single crochet into that slip stitch. Okay. So there's my first single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. All right, so this is what your piece should look like at this point. And now the reason why we've done this is because that front loop only flips our row, flips your piece up. And so this will make our brim stick out in front of the hat, as you would expect from the brim on a baseball hat. So we've got our 4 single crochets, and then working into the next stitch here, we're going to work a single crochet increase. And now we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. There's 1. And 3. And now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. Now we'll work 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Followed by a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And so we've got our stitch marker here in this last stitch, and I did that so that way we don't lose where our first stitch of the last round was. So we're going to move that stitch marker now and work 1 single crochet into that last stitch. Now we are now at the end of row 17, and your piece should look like this. So you can see the start of the brim, and you should have 17 stitches along your brim. So then we're going to yarn over and chain up 1 and turn our work. So to start with row 18, we're going to do what's called a single crochet decrease. To do that means we're going to eliminate one of the stitches in our piece. So we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook at this point. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches on our hook. And that's your decrease completed. And if you look at the top, you see that you only have 1 little V at the top, and that means you have 1 stitch from the 2. And now we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And again, those 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Then we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. There's 2 and 4. Now we're going to work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And to finish this round, we're going to work another single crochet decrease. So we're going to insert our hook into that first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook to complete your stitch. And that's it for round 18 there. So now we have 17 stitches still in our piece. So then we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work, and we're ready to start with row 19. We're going to start this row just like we did with the last, with a single crochet decrease. So insert our hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. 3 loops are on your hook, then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And we'll work a single crochet increase into the next stitch. And now we'll work 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Followed by an increase into the next. So again, when I say increase, it's 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Now we'll work 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And we'll end this row by doing another single crochet decrease. So insert into the first, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. You should still have 17 stitches in your round, and we're ready to move on to row 20. So we're going to yarn over and chain up 1 and turn our work. For row 20, we're going to start with a single crochet decrease. So again, we're working into that first and second stitch to eliminate one of those stitches. And then we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 13 stitches. There's 3. 6. 9. 'So now that I have my 13 single crochets, I'm going to end this round by doing another single crochet decrease. So again, into those first and second stitches, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now at the end of row 20, you should have 15 stitches across your piece. Then we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. So we're turning our work so that way we can slip stitch down the short side of our brim. And we're going to place 1 slip stitch into each of the stitches down the side. So we're just going to work into the side. There's no exact way to do it. Just do your best. If you can identify the ends of each round, then that's ideal. Just work your way down the side of the brim. Then we're going to slip stitch across each stitch of this last row in the body of the hat. We're just working all the way around our piece. So now that I've done my slip stitch around in each stitch of round 15, I'm now at the other side of my brim, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the end of each round up the short side of the brim. So now that I'm at the long side of the brim, I'm just going to slip stitch into each stitch across around 20 here. And this will help the brim stay straight and stick out properly from the hat. So I just finished doing my slip stitches all the way around my hat, and I'm ready to finish off. I'm going to need to cut my yarn and leave a tail of at least 6 to 8 inches is usually a good length here. I'm going to cut my yarn, and then I'm going to pull the yarn all the way through that last stitch. And I'm going to grab my tapestry needle and thread the end of the yarn onto the tapestry needle. So then I'm going to do what's called an invisible finish, and this is where we're going to replicate the last or the first stitch here of the round to get a cleaner finish on our piece. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to insert it under both loops of the second stitch that I did of this round. So here's my first stitch, and I'm skipping that and working into the second under both loops, and I'm going to pull the yarn all the way through. And now I'm going to take my needle and insert it through the back loop only of the last stitch that I did of this round. So because it's a slip stitch, it kind of blends in here, but this is the front loop here, and this is the back loop here. So remembering that the back loop is the loop of your stitch that is the furthest away from you. I'm going to insert my hook, or my needle I should say, under that back loop only through to the back of the piece. And I'm going to pull that all the way through. And I'm going to give that a gentle tug until the yarn lays flat on top of that last stitch and it looks just like the last stitch of my round. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And then once you're confident with your placement, you can just take your yarn and start weaving in your ends to finish off your hat. So pull that to the back so you can see. And that's it. That's how you make your doll hat for Advent Adam. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please hit that like button and please consider subscribing to this channel. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoy free crochet patterns, please check out my blog, theloopylamb.com. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Happy hooking, and I'll see you next time.